So hi, I'm Katie, as you know, and this is my second video in my series. As you can see, quite a bit of change. I've had all my hair cut off and it's now pink. So today in this video I'm going to be talking about some of the work I've done in between, how little of it I have done, and what I think has happened, what has changed, and where my ideas are going. I'm going to put in like clips of like documentation I've already taken, thanks to a couple of my friends, and I'm just gonna sort of tell you what I think about it, because I know some of it just didn't turn out how I wanted it to or how I thought it would, so it's always good to look back and see how I can change it, how I can sort of develop this and where it's going, because it very much felt like a start of something instead of an end of something. I've got my laptop here, so I'm going to be watching it like a react with me. I won't react to the whole video, or just the actual performance in this bit, but I will put in the little funny bits in between, just for your enjoyment. So if we start with my first practice performance, here I'm working off the idea that I wanted to rub berries or rub ink or something that's stained onto a medium and try and clean it off. So I thought, what best than myself, and I didn't think it went as well as I thought it would. So if we start, I'm very uncomfortable with people watching me anyway, which is why I sent everyone out of the room, or two people that watched it. And I think that goes back to the first video where I was opening up about how vulnerable I feel doing things that aren't perfect in front of people. And oh boy, does it truly come out.
Just to get used to it for film. Yeah?
Yeah. Come on.
I'm going to look at some first people.
So here we see I have painted a bucket black, and I've got a car sponge because I thought it looked the best aesthetically, and I'm using raspberries and blackberries. And before even we get into this, I genuinely thought it wouldn't give me as much payoff as it had, and I'm extremely excited about how well it actually looked on me. So if we actually put on the video, I'm going to take off the audio. We see, what I don't like about this is how I'm picking up the fallen berries off the floor and rubbing it on myself. I don't think that was the best choice on my part, but I didn't want it to be scripted, so I tried to go with how it was flowing, and I wanted to play. Whereas sort of the idea of having the white t-shirt I really enjoyed, because obviously with the water it went slightly see-through, so I felt exposed, but also the berry payoff really did stain it in the end. I'll put a picture up of it here. Unfortunately I didn't have enough space in my phone, and I didn't know that until the end of it, so some of this is going to have to come in stills, which I'll put in after I'll put in the section of video. As you can see, Kelsey is actually taking the photos right there. I really I really think that the scrubbing motion is really what brought this to life. I don't think the washing myself is a way I want to go forward, because I feel as if that's something that I've seen before, done too many times, and I don't think it really fits in with sort of the themes and theories that I'm looking at. The whole trying to wash myself, but I really like the scrubbing motion and the trying to get things off, but I like that. I don't particularly like how cack-handed I am with the berries and things. That's something I'm going to have to work with. I want to buy an actual black bucket next time instead of just painting something black, because that didn't work out. All the acrylic paint had come off that one. I need to learn to try not to adjust things while I'm performing, so adjusting my t-shirt and that. And at the end of this I put my hair up, which I think would have been a better choice for this anyway, having it up, because the long hair just sort of got in the way, and obviously I don't have that issue now, but that's still something I've got to sort of consider. Like, do I want my face to be shielded, or do I want it to be clear when I'm working? Other things that I want to think about in this is sort of the way my body responds to it. There was a lot of heavy breathing because I was anxious, I was scared, I was performing, but also the scrubbing motion and how like red my skin got from it, how irritated it was. I really like the idea of like the sound of me laboured, that kind of thing, because it shows a real effort. And in the context of the work, there's been a lot of effort put into trying to rework the family, trying to erase the negativity that comes with the person that left, the granddad shed, how much effort has been put into trying to ignore that. So that's something I really like about it, the effort and the taint of the colour payoff of the berries. If I was to use ink, which I will try, I don't think it'd be as effective because of the natural like texture the berries gave. It was lumpy and it wasn't pretty, it wasn't smooth. Whereas I think ink would look like a weaker version of this, especially if it's watered down. So I either need a lot of ink or it's just going to look like a weaker version of what I've already done. So I started this off thinking I wasn't going to like the berries at all. I wanted to use ink. But now I need to experiment a bit more and elaborate on what I think's the right route, even though I'm really not sure at this point. I thought doing practices would clear things up, but it really hasn't. So that's where I was with this, and I'll put some pictures in for you. But from this, there's a video of me clearing up, and in it Kelsey says, "Can we throw the berries at you?"
Can we throw berries at you? That's a serious question from BBC. You don't have to get in like stocks or anything.
Sure.
Which I thought was a joke, but no, genuinely, she'd like to throw berries at me. So I salvaged what I had left, which was like some whole berries and some pulp. And the next experiment, I think this whole video here was literally just us trying things, and I think this one actually turned out better than my first attempt at a performance. This is us playing around and experimenting because I didn't feel as if the first one had gone the way I wanted it to go. And the thinking behind this is, if I'm doing it to myself, then what's the point? And having an audience inflict the stains upon me, having the audience themselves stained, because when they were handling the berries they had red hands as well. And I think imagery here is really good, especially the impact on the white t-shirt. Like, the bright colour against the white is something I really enjoyed. And what I'm going to have to work through if I want to sort of continue down this route is not laughing every time something was thrown at me, because you can imagine how hilarious that was, just to have two of your best friends stood in front of you throwing things at you, especially when they were going for the head. They got me twice, which you'll see, and it was terrifying because it genuinely hurt a little bit. But I think if I got more berries and more people, it'd have been 10 times more effective than just 2 people. But this was a really good way to start. And what I liked about this specifically was, even though I was getting stained, the background was as well, which is why I stood in between white walls, just to see what would happen to where I was surrounding. Obviously, my site of choice, I can do whatever I want to it, and the walls are blue, so we'll see in a little bit what cleaning the berries off does. It's very, very interesting and something I really liked. I was trying to clean all the berries off the wall, and I decided that if I sort of made a little bit more of a mess by putting some berries in a sponge and smearing it to see what it was like. It made good marks on like a pale wall, but then I started cleaning it with actual water, and I saw how much it spread. Like, I know I added to what it was, but it just spread as I was trying to clean it. you can see the drip marks of where the water is carrying down the colour, and the actual paint of the wall started to come off more than the berries did, which I thought was really interesting, because I thought, because it's a natural substance, it would just come right off. But oh no, the little mark I made in the middle just spread, and to this day it's still on the studio wall. I will pop in a picture, because I wanted to see what was happening, and this is the desired effect I wanted. When I came into this project, I wanted to have a space that I needed to clean. I need to be in it to see what is already on the walls would do. So if I take a wet sponge to the walls that are already there, what will it do? Or do I have to pre-dirty it? Because if I'm just washing walls and nothing's happening, I don't think it'd be as impactful as if things were moving about. Which is why I really like this experiment, because it shows that I've tried something and it's sort of come back to the original idea of me having to clean a space up, trying to clean a space from the stain, which was just completely mental. But as I say, I thought these experiments would help, but I feel like I'm just back at the beginning now. I don't know where I'm going, so this is definitely I need to talk to a lecturer kind of deal, because while this is good, I still need something to progress. I need things to go forward, because at the moment it's at a stop,